And because at this level here we forget, we don't remember our past lives, this is one of the traps and dangers for starseeds, because they can get karmically involved here, right? Okay, this is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com, and welcome to another episode of True Spirituality. This is my series on metaphysics, esotericism, mysticism, and spirituality. And if you are new here, please subscribe, because we are creating these videos. You know, there's a lot of content I want to talk about. So if you are someone who is interested in metaphysics, spirituality, consciousness, psychedelics, meditation, higher states of consciousness, you know, how past lives work, reincarnation, karma, free will, mystical practices, all these different topics, how reality really works on deep levels. If you are someone who likes these kind of topics, please subscribe and check out previous episodes as well, because this is already episode 25, I believe, 25. So in episode 24, I just briefly described this concept or this term of starseeds, who are starseeds, and how to know if you are a starseed. I actually forgot to add that you go through activation, let's call it, which is like your spiritual awakening. So, you know, you might first couple of years of your life or first 20 years or whatever, sometimes you are just like everyone else, and then you start going through some kind of activation or spiritual awakening process. And in this video I want to actually give you some examples of the dangers that are here on Earth, the traps basically that some of the starseeds are subject to, or you know, some of the dangers that we face. So one of the very first things is that because at this level, at third density level where we are now, there is something called veil of forgetting, or sometimes people call it veil of forgetfulness, I'm not sure, but basically what it means is that third density is a stage where you are not remembering your past lives. So most people don't remember anything. You incarnate here and you think, you know, maybe I lived once and that's it, you know, I don't remember anything what I was doing before. That's like 99.99% of people, right? But actually this is designed so when you move into fourth density, the higher level, which is what we are doing now, we are moving into higher level basically now, transitioning. This is this period of transformation. This is when you are deciding on your polarity, right? So the more selfish you are, the more likely you either gonna be repeating something on third density, some level, or you're gonna end up as a negative entity in your next incarnations. So this is something to think about, you know, the more selfish you are, the more you are service to self, the more likely you either gonna be repeating third density, some level of third density, or you will end up as a negative entity in higher densities. So that's something to think about. And the more you are service to others, the more likely you are going up. So you are gonna evolve into fourth density positive. You're gonna be a positive being, entity. A lot of beings in fourth, fifth density, they remember their past lives. That's the nature. So here you have kind of free choice, free will to decide if you're gonna be negative or positive without fully understanding the repercussions. Because you might think, oh, I'm gonna be selfish, whatever, take as much for myself, but then that's gonna create repercussions farther down the line. And because at this level here we forget, we don't remember our past lives. This is one of the traps and dangers for starseeds, because they can get karmically involved here, right? So, typically starseeds are a lot more evolved, and they have a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, etc. So you move here, you go here, and obviously the problem is that you forgot who you are, or what's your plan, what's your mission here. Basically all of us have a soul plan, some kind of a mission here to do. And because you forgot, and because you have a lot of gifts and talents, you might start going into completely different direction, right? And you have very strong programming as well. So, media, entertainment industry, movies, everywhere you have this programming, your teachers, your parents, etc. That maybe the success means making tons of money, and that's gonna make me successful, right? And then you might think, I'm a smart guy. Yeah, let me, become a millionaire. Let me do what feels right here, right? What gonna make me successful. And because of some of these things, because you don't remember what's going on, who you are, and what's your plan, you might lose the track a little bit and get karmically involved. So basically, for example, in this example I just shared, where you want to go towards a path of materialism and money making, all these things, you're gonna start creating karma. You are actually becoming a negatively oriented being, because you start taking more and more for yourself, right? So this is an example how some people here can basically get karmically involved, or whatever. You're gonna do something negative here. You have free will, you have a plan, you have a lot of help through contracts, through your guides, etc. But sometimes you still might get lost a little bit here, right? Because you don't remember, and you have all these different programs and challenges here, right? So one problem is that a lot of us kind of lose the track and forget, and starts kind of deviating from the soul plan. So this is a problem, and then you gotta watch out to mess up the karma here, because if you're gonna do it, then you're gonna have to repay it at some point, right? So this is one danger. Another issue is that, a lot of starseeds are under attack before they get activated, right? So when you are basically, maybe, before you're gonna have your spiritual awakening, some of these experiences, you just have a normal life, right? And sometimes what happens is that, especially, the dark side, all the negative entities that are in charge here, they control the system. They obviously observe and understand everything from like 4th, 5th density, etc., higher densities. They know who you are. If you are someone who might have a lot of work here to do, they might try to prevent you from activating yourself, from having spiritual awakening, maybe try to divert you towards different path, etc., so you don't follow your soul plan. And I've seen that happening in all sorts of ways already. So for example, someone I know was actually, before this person started doing her work as a healer and activating her abilities, she had this time where basically someone tried to kind of get her into marriage, and if that would happen, if she would marry this person who was not at all into these kind of topics, maybe she would just become like a normal housewife, live with him, and then he would kind of prevent her from activating herself, right? But because she didn't do it, that didn't happen, and he really tried to do it. And she had her path, and she got activated. Now she does her work as a healer. So this is an example. Sometimes we are being hijacked in all sorts of ways. So especially with contracts with parents or some people around us, they might try to force you from opening, from activating yourself. And programming is one of the big ones. I've had a lot of problems with that. I was just so programmed by my parents, my dad, and everything really, and I was kind of losing my path a lot. Even though it didn't feel right, I would do it because I thought this is the right thing, everyone is doing that. And then fortunately, through experiences and learning and, you know, waking up a little bit in different ways, I saw what is the path I should be doing. So these are just two examples of what are these kind of traps, let's call it, that starseeds might fall into. One is that you get karmically involved here, starts messing up things, not following your soul plan, and that happens a lot, especially with like highly intelligent people. They might start just missing the path and start doing something else, which is selfish, whatever. And another thing is like sometimes, you know, different forces try to hijack you from waking up. That's also common, I see, especially with like starseeds at the early stage, before they get activated, before they go through a full awakening. And that can be through like getting in contracts or trying to get someone like family member, whatever, husband, someone who's gonna kind of slow you down or whatever. So these are two biggest dangers, I would say. Okay, that's it for today. Check out patreon.com/TruthTheory if you want to support this project, True Spirituality. And if you want to work with me on one-to-one basis, go to truththeory.com/coaching. And until next time.